Hi everyone. Firstly, I am struggling to talk properly and it does sound like I'm either slurring my words, which you can see. It's anything with an S in I'm struggling with. And I just want to point that out straight away. I've not been drinking, I've not took any medication that would do this. There is a reason why I'm talking funny, and I will explain why probably in a few days, because the thing that's causing me to slur my words is very upsetting, and I don't want to say what it is right now, but I am aware that certain words I'm slurring on. So if I say something and I think you might not be able to understand it, I'll say it a second time in hopes that I say it a bit better. So this is the second version of this that I'm filming, because I ended up filming for 30 minutes and I was just like, I don't want to put a 30-minute video up because of how long it will take to upload, basically. So I'm going to try and condense it into around 10 minutes. Also, I'm a little bit calmer than I was when I filmed that. I finished filming it about 15 minutes ago and I've calmed down a lot because I feel a little bit better physically. Do you know what? The only thing that I've had is I've just had 2 painkillers, which I'll show you what they are at the end of the video, because they worked almost immediately and anyone can buy them. It's not prescription, and I've never had them before, but a few people have said that they're really good, and I kept thinking they can't be that good. But I had them, and within, I don't know how many minutes, it was not many minutes, they started to work. Which is hard to believe because I wouldn't have believed it. I also had a Pop-Tart, and I'm drinking this, if you watch the Rocker Box unboxing, this ginger CBD turmeric water. But this isn't what's making me feel better. I started to feel a little bit better before I started drinking that, so I don't believe that's what's helping me. So basically, if you've been watching my videos recently, you'll know that I'm very upset at the police putting my life in danger by having the alarm switched off. I also mentioned at some point that I had a dream about a DC called Melissa Chadwick last week, and I was very confused by the dream, and I'm a big believer that when you have certain dreams, especially if you remember them in a lot of detail the next day, I am the firm believer that it's your subconscious mind trying to tell you something. Now, I also think to some extent it's not always necessarily exactly what's happening in the dream. I just think in a roundabout way your mind is trying to tell you to deal with something, or something's going to happen, or whatever it is. And sometimes it's not easy to work out what the dream is trying to tell you. Like, I was trying to work out why Melissa Chadwick was in my dream, and then obviously I found out the alarm got switched off, and I thought, well, it's nothing to do with Melissa Chadwick directly, it's to do with the police, and obviously Melissa Chadwick works for the police, and I just thought, well, maybe that's why she was in my dream, because the reason I got the alarm was the reason why she came into my life in the first place, and that's what I basically put it down to. Also, when I first had the dream, I kept thinking, I need to speak to Melissa Chadwick, not about the contents of the dreams. I just felt like I was trying to tell myself that I needed to speak to her, but I didn't really know why, to be honest. But obviously when I found out about the alarm, I didn't really think it was her directly. Fast forward to maybe an hour ago-ish. Sorry, I'm just looking at the time. Guess who phoned me? You're never going to believe this. DC Melissa Chadwick from Burnley Police. She's at Burnley because she got moved from Blackburn because of what she was doing involving me, and her supervisor Mark moved her. That's what I got told. I actually just mentioned it to her. She went quiet for a few seconds and came back with a response that was nothing to do with that, because she basically knew I was spot on with it. But that doesn't really matter. So she rung me and she stressed me out. But I'm not too bothered that she stressed me out. Like, I don't have a complaint about her stressing me out. Melissa's Melissa at the end of the day. She'd probably rub up the most placid person on the planet, you know, rub them up the wrong way. That's just Melissa. I don't care that, like, she stressed me out. She stressed me out. I think, do you know what? I think no matter who rang me from the police, they would have stressed me out to some point. Maybe not Melissa Chadwick point. I think she knows how to press my buttons, to be honest. But I don't care. So she basically told me that it was her decision to take the alarm out. Now, as she also said to me, she's had nothing to do with me. She said for 2 or 3 years, which is about right. But so, and then she said, I don't know anything about what's going on now, which I don't fully believe it's true, because she would have gone on to see what's been going on, because that's what they tend to do. So, you know, there's no need to lie, just be honest, because honesty will get you a lot further with people. So I was like, I want to speak to the supervisor, and she's like, she's not in, and said she was in tomorrow. And then when I asked again, she told me she's not in till Monday, she probably won't speak to me. I don't know who this supervisor thinks they are, but at the end of the day, it's the public that pay the police's wages. Like, and you know what? I watched this thing the other day, and you should check this channel out. It's called Crime Bodge, and actually it wasn't on Crime Bodge, it was on another one. And he basically said to them, we pay your wages, because we pay, like, what's it called? Oh my god, what's it called? My mind is just gone completely. Income tax. So we basically fund the police, because we do. And then this copper on this thing, he was being filmed by this person, went, I pay taxes. And then this person went, yeah, but you're paying taxes out of taxpayers' money. And this copper couldn't understand this, but it's actually true, because we technically pay their wages, and yeah, they might pay income tax, but they're paying income tax out of the money that's come from the income tax to begin with. So technically, they're not paying anything, because we're paying their wages, and we're paying their tax with the money that they're making, because we paid the tax, basically, in a roundabout way. So anyway, so I don't know who this, like I said, this supervisor, it's probably an inspector. Like, I don't know what kind of attitude this inspector has, but to think they're above speaking to the public at inspector level. Like, I've spoken to chief inspectors and stuff, and they don't think they're above speaking to the general public. So why would this inspector think that she shouldn't be speaking to people? Like, what kind of attitude is that? And then they wonder why people sometimes have a little bit of problem with the police when they've got attitudes. Like, do you know what I mean? And from experience, and this is my personal experience, and also when I've spoke to police officers, like, they've said to me, when they were talking about, like, their colleagues who have attitudes, I was actually like, oh, is it the inspectors? And they're like, no, actually, you'd be surprised, it's actually the PCs. And this was PC saying this to me, and I'm like, oh, really? She's like, oh, not all of us, but the ones that tend to sometimes have the attitude are PCs, and you find that the higher up, the more nicer they are. And I agree with it to some extent, because I've met some PCs, DCs, sergeants, inspectors, etc. So I've dealt with them all for different reasons. I don't have a criminal record, just to point out, and I also pointed that out to Melissa Chadwick. So some PCs I've met, really down to earth, really nice, got really good personalities, you know, ones that they can get on with anyone. And then you do get some that come in with the attitude, like, I'm better than everyone else. They'll throw the weight around and, like, be quite mean to people. And, you know, there's no need to it, like, for it. I've met some police officers who always say to me that no matter what they're told beforehand over the radio, like, they're told stuff about me even though I've never done anything. And some of them come with a really bad attitude, and some of them will say, yes, we've been told stuff, but we take you as we find you. So if you're calm and chatty and you'll talk to us, then, you know, we're going to get on fine. But obviously if you're kicking off at us, we're not going to be that nice to you. They said they're not going to be mean, but they'll have a totally different attitude. So there are some that come, and they're absolute nightmares with me, and they're just PCs. Now, from personal experience, and, you know, I've had a lot of experience that you wouldn't necessarily want to admit, and I don't mean because I've done anything illegal, but I did have a lot of interaction with different police officers, and from experience, yeah, some of the PCs are horrific and some are really nice. Like, I have met some really nice PCs, and I'm not just saying that, you know me, I'll say it how it is. And, you know, I've met some sergeants and I've met some inspectors, and my honest opinion is some of the PCs are a nightmare, but the ones that I've found the absolute worst are actually sergeants. For some reason, and I don't know why, and I'm not saying they all are, and I've not met as many sergeants as I've met DCs and inspectors. I've actually met more inspectors than these sergeants, but from experience, the sergeants have got really bad attitudes, they're really difficult to deal with, they're quite mean in their approach, and they're really full of it. And it's really shocking because when you meet inspectors who would have been a sergeant at one time, it's such a stark contrast in personalities to the sergeant, and you're thinking, oh my god, I bet you were a bit like that when you was a sergeant. It's like you've gone like totally into a totally different personality. So yeah, for some reason sergeants are the bell ends of the police station. And I've had, like, once I had this sergeant ring me up, and it was to do with the case with Melissa Chadwick and DC Karen Haynes. DC Haynes had put the phone down on me. She was being really mean to me, slammed the phone down on me, and I think I then went to my dad's office, and I was at my dad's office, and phone rings, and I knew it was the police because it says number withheld or unknown number or private number, whichever one it is. And I answered it thinking it was Karen ringing me back, probably to carry on being mean. And it was this sergeant. So I'm there, my dad's there, and he was being an absolute nightmare with me, and that's putting it mildly. And I just remember thinking, I don't know who you think you are, you've never spoken to me before, yet you're on the phone being an arsehole with me. And he was telling me what I should do, and I told him if he wanted it doing, he should do it himself, and I put the phone down on him. My dad was highly amused by the fact I put the phone down, but he had also heard the way he was speaking to me. And I'm like, there's ways to talk to people and there's ways not to talk to people, and if you want someone to actually do something, getting on the phone and being like that with them is not the way you're going to get them to do something. Facts. And he never rung me after that. It was just that either the DCs or the inspector. So obviously he threw his toys out of his pram because I wouldn't do what he was demanding I'd do. But A, I'm not a suspect. B, I've done nothing wrong. C, there's ways of actually speaking to people. And D, if you want someone to do something, don't get on the phone and try and force them and be mean to them. So yeah, I do believe that sergeants are definitely, from my experience, from the ones I've, experienced it with, they are the worst. Now, to me, the scariest ones, even though obviously there's higher up, are inspectors. I was scared to death, and I know he doesn't watch my videos anymore, otherwise I would never admit this. I was scared to death of this inspector called Mark. Like, he rung me up, anything he asked me, I'd answer it. Like, whereas anyone else, I'd avoid the question him, I'd answer it because I was just so scared of him. I don't know if he ever realised how scared I was of him, but I was scared of him. Not as in, like, if I saw him, I'd be scared to death of him. I was just scared of him because he had a lot of power. And he wasn't afraid to use it. So, yeah. Anyway, so this inspector who won't speak to me because she's apparently above speaking to the public, you need to get a grip, seriously, because you're there to serve the public. That's what police officers are there for, serving us who are actually paying their wages. So, yeah, I can't remember the name of the channel. Oh, it's called Audit in Britain. You should watch it. Some of it's really funny. Some of it's like, oh, I don't know if you should have done that. And it's basically this guy who goes to different towns quite near to where he lives and gets his camera out and starts filming outside the police station. I mean, I've filmed at the police station a few times in my time. There was one night I was really upset and I was walking up outside the police station. This was a couple of years ago and it was in videos that are on here. And I'm walking up and down the side outside the police station filming myself, and no one ever stopped me. But it was at night time, so maybe they won't take as much notice at night time. But there's basically this guy who, like, refers to himself as AB, because, like, it's called Audit in Britain. And he basically goes and he just starts talking away like he's doing this live stream, going, so we're outside the police station, let's take a look around. And he's walking around and he's basically trying to get into places around the police station. Like, some of them, you can just walk directly onto the car park and stuff and get on the car park, and some of them are definitely locked down. Like the one in the next town in Blackburn, basically you can't get into the compound where the police cars are, but you can get in the part where where a lot of the staff park, because it's a car park for staff and visitors. But actually, in fact, you probably could get into the police compound, because if you walk through the car park that anyone can park in, there's just, actually, you could get in it anywhere. But I'm not saying you should do that, because, you know, they'll soon be out asking you why you're doing it. And that's what basically happens. So he's going around filming, trying to get into car parks. If not, he just stands where the police cars come in and out and he's filming. So it's obviously to try and get some reaction. And do they react? Yes, they bloody do. And some of them are like coming out with laws that don't exist, or laws that can't be used in that sort of situation, to try and get him to say why he's there and stuff. But some of the things they come out with, they probably hate this guy and how many viewers he's got and how many people watch these videos. But I don't even know why I got onto that. I think it's these bloody painkillers making me all... It's like truth serum, innit? Not that I need truth serum, I just say how it is all the time. So anyway, it isn't Melissa Chadwick's decision. She's obviously done this as some kind of act of revenge because she got moved to Burnley where they're all inbred. And she didn't like it. Well, you're not having your alarm back, but it's going to get switched back on because I am in danger. See, this is the thing, right? They should ring you and they should speak to you and say, look, do you think you need this alarm? And I'd be like, yeah. And they should say, well, why do you think you need it? And I'll tell them why. I'm not safe. It's alright, because if I get it took off me, I'll just let the person know that how many hours they were arrested before I was forced to do an interview under the influence. And I was under influence, you could tell I was under the influence, and I also told them I was under the influence as well. So, of alcohol, I was actually sat there swigging vodka whilst I was being interviewed. So, you know, that's how professional they are. They were so desperate to get me to do this interview that not only did they force me there by threatening me with arrest, they also falsely arrested someone based on no evidence, no facts, or not even anything. So if they do take my alarm off me, I'm going to get my solicitor to contact their solicitor and tell them, and I'll give them as much help as they need to sue the police, basically. Because they're putting me in danger just because Melissa Chadwick doesn't like me. It shouldn't really come from Melissa Chadwick, really. It should come from the inspector who was in charge to begin with, because I know for a fact he wouldn't get it took off me, because he wouldn't. Why would you put me in danger? I'll just ring the police every day. I'll just go and meet up with strangers. I told Melissa that. So, yeah. So there's the fifth thing in the bad things that are happening. The fourth thing is why I'm talking funny. The more I talk, the less the lisp is there. Oh my god. But something has happened, and I'm really upset about it, so yeah. And I don't know what to do. I'm kind of like stuck, don't know what to do. It might be my doctor's tomorrow. I don't know if my doctor's working though. I haven't rung the doctors in such a long time. I hate ringing the doctors. I'd rather just call in, but that would mean leaving the house, and also you can't just call in the doctors anymore, can you? Oh god, I was only meant to talk for 10 minutes. This is quite fiery, but after like 5 or 6 mouthfuls, you can't really feel the fieriness. Oh God, I can't speak. But the painkillers I had were Panadol soluble, and they're in a green box. And honestly, before I had them, because I've had a banging headache since, well, it turned into a migraine yesterday. I was on migraine relief all day, since I found out about the alarm. And then I said, you put me in danger. She went, well, no, we didn't, because you didn't need it. Well, technically, you did put me in danger, because if someone came in the house, I was under the false illusion that I could press the alarm and the police would turn up and ignore me, as per usual. So maybe I should sue the police, because I can sue Melissa Chadwick. You can take, like, civil action yourself. Anyway, before I filmed the original clip, I mean, I'm going to have to stop filming soon, I contacted my solicitor and let him know that Melissa Chadwick, DC from Burnley, had contacted me. She said she's going to phone me back next week. I doubt she will. I can't imagine she would phone me again. I mean, I'm not bothered, like, by Melissa if she wants to phone me. There's something I'd like to say to her anyway. And there's a question that I've always wanted to ask her, so if she rings me, I might get the chance to ask her the question that I've always wanted to ask her. It's not a horrible question, it's just a question. I wanted to know her opinion on something, and then I'm going to tell her a fact that she would probably like me to tell her. But yeah, that's that. I feel better for those painkillers though. God, I still have a slight temperature because I've got a slight sore throat because of the bloody fan. Happens like probably 80% of the time I have the fan on all night. I wake up with a bit of a sore throat and temperature, but this humidity is a killer. Like, why does it have to be so humid? Anyway, I'm going to have to go because I need to make a decision about something, and the time's getting on, and I don't know what to do, and I've got no one to ask what am I meant to do. Joe, I'll be able to explain everything in a couple of weeks. I need to get rid of my list first, and then I can explain why I've got this list and what's happened, but I don't want to explain it whilst I've still got what's making me lisp. So you may not see me on camera. I don't know if you noticed anyway, I have took time off from vlogging. It was deliberate, so I'm not doing any vlog type videos. I don't know how long for. I did have an initial date in my head, but obviously I'm on number 5 of bad things happening, so I'm just waiting for number 6 to happen. And they say, oh, bad things come in threes. Like, when I'm on number 5, it's like, come on, give me a break. Like, seriously. I need to make a really big decision quite quickly, and I don't know what I'm meant to do.